Play. And then I was supposed to put. There it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm rocking and rolling. Just hitting this drive. I saw this news story pop up, and I felt like it was something that was conversational worthy, or at least for me to go live with and keep this live up. Joel Ross, 34 years old. He was an instructional staff member at Coniston Middle School. Oh, this is in Florida. Okay, so he was arrested at during a West Palm Beach prostitution sting, authorities said. Investigators said Ross was contacted by an undercover officer in the parking lot at a Bravo supermarket. First of all, hey, don't go near Bravos. Said while driving a black Honda Civic. He was charged with soliciting a prostitute. He has since been fired by the Palm Beach County School District. So the question I have is, should a man lose his career over paying for cat? Should this man's career in education be gone because he made this poor judgment and high risk of sexually transmitted diseases decision to try to solicit a prostitute outside the Bravo in West Palm Beach County? I'm going to leave this up, and I probably will put a poll question with it, but I want to know what do people think? At what extent should an educator be excused for crimes they do? This is why I hate when people give educators such a hard time. The reason why this whole channel was created was people calling me a fake ass teacher. You're a fake ass teacher, shouldn't be around kids. I wouldn't trust you. All this other shit. But people don't understand that educators are the only profession where you are severely underpaid, but you can lose your job just at an instance. Make sure you guys hit the like button when you watch this. But I want to know in the comment section, should this man have lost his job because he was willing to pay for cat? Now, he didn't even buy the prostitute. We have a whole nother argument of entrapment going on. If you guys don't know what entrapment is where the police could lure you to commit a crime and then charge you for that crime. So now we have a situation where he's being charged with soliciting a prostitute when he probably wasn't out looking for one. One came up to him, and it just happened to be a law enforcement officer. So in this situation here, we have a guy who worked in education. They said he was a instructional staff. So instructional staff, that means he was a teacher. Okay, they didn't say he was an instructional aide. They said he was instructional staff. So that means he was a teacher. So because he's a teacher, this makes the first class news. This is a story. We're discussing that on social media right now. Let me put a poll question in. Let's do that. Let's see, poll question. All right. So, should this teacher lose his career over paying, being willing? Not, he didn't even pay. He was willing to pay for a prostitute for sexual favors. And now his face is plastered up. The way the story broke, you would have thought that he had committed a crime against a child. But there's a better question that I even asked with this case here. I wonder, so somebody already supposed to said yes. I want to know why you think a teacher should lose his job, maybe his license too, if he pays for a prostitute. It's a crazy question, right? But I want to know how that becomes a fireable offense in your eyes, because I just want to understand it. I'm not arguing for or against. I certainly wouldn't want someone in a classroom that if I were at in front charge of a school, I wouldn't want somebody whose face was plastered all over the news for buying cat. I would. But the question does have to be asked, is that impacting his ability to teach? And if you notice, like I said, teaching is the only profession where you could commit the most basic of crimes and it's going to get plastered all over the news the next, which reminds me, I need to pay my red light ticket, or else I'm gonna be in one of them orange jumpsuits taking a picture. But this man should have been fired. I got a better question to ask. When does prostitution end and quid pro quo begins? Because we see a lot of women who marry men, who date men, who befriend physically men for monetary purposes, and they have stated such. One of the most popular ones was Anna Nicole Smith. She married a man who was 90 something years old just so she could get his inheritance. And he was willing to pay it out. So why is it that if a man pays for a prostitute, that's illegal? But if a man takes a woman out for a date and pays for her meal and pays for and drives her and takes her place, why? And then his expectation and her agreement is that they will exchange sexual favor. How is that then legal? Let's see. No, he's all right. So I don't understand the dynamic of where quid pro quo begins and prostitution ends. Because we have a lot of people out here who say that they are dating, but everyone knows that the guy's just paying for it. What's the difference between a prostitute and an escort? So when you look at it from that lens of what I just shared, I'm curious to know, how does this impact this man's profession other than it being something embarrassing? Because the next thing is, are we going to say if a teacher files for bankruptcy because it's a public record, do we then say that that teacher shouldn't deserve to be a teacher because they can't show any financial stability? If a teacher gets arrested for domestic violence, and I've seen that happen, a teacher lose their job. Is that fair to say that the teacher should lose their job? Should people lose their job for infractions that have absolutely nothing to do with relatability to their career? I don't believe Joel Ross should lose his job. However, I do understand that school districts sometimes have a morality clause. This is why I was critical of the dude who was crying on television about black kids and brown kids not being able to read, and he's doing it in his classroom with his work lanyard on, and he probably got fired, and he should have. But I don't know about this one. I don't know if Joe Ross. So here's the question, and like I said before, I'll leave this live up. Should this man been fired for paying for a prostitute? Should he have lost his career as an educator? This man went through an undergraduate program. He went through a licensure program. He might have even got his master's. And because an undercover cop approached his vehicle, offered him sex for money, and he agreed, he now may never teach again. Do you think that's right? All right. So I'm gonna leave this here. I'm gonna let y'all rock on that for a little bit, and I will holler at y'all later. Go.